You hear a gentle, almost comforting humming. And it is the humming of machinery.
Okay.
Running gently in the background.
Right. So I've probably found maybe the life support kind of system. I'll have a look. I'll poke my head around.
You poke your head around the corner. And propped up against one wall is a brass-coloured humanoid.
Here we are.
Automaton.
Which isn't moving. Cables are running out of an opened chest plate to what look not unlike car batteries on the floor. This would appear to be the automaton missing from the crew's or the ship's manifest, for lack of a better word. And they are, well, I hesitate to say dead, because what does that mean for an automaton? But they are not active as such. And you, with your mechanical knowledge, get the impression they've maybe entered, much like the medical facility itself, a kind of hibernating, kind of
low power state.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to try and get him going if I can. I guess I approach him and see if there's any immediate signs of damage or any reason why he wouldn't be working other than battery level.
You can see what would appear to be repair work has been done on the automaton's left kind of shoulder area. It's a kind of, I guess I should elaborate a bit more. It's a lovely kind of quasi-retro, quasi-futuristic robot you're seeing here. Naked, because it has no kind of obvious gender, but it is brass-coloured all over, sleek rivets, kind of like an ocean liner with the kind of like rivets and bolts going down the centre, and does not look especially threatening or dangerous in any way, but is beautifully made, like whatever world this creature, this robot came from. It was a work of art, and something at some point has taken an almighty blow to the shoulder, to the point where this kind of panelling was caved in, and there's been a bit of a patchwork job in repairing the shoulder, to mixed success, you can see. It's functional, but it's not as good as it was.
Okay. Well, I shout down, "Hey, R'tuar! Look what I found!"
Shut up, you idiot!
At this point, there is a little ping, and the concentric revolving rings, which were moving around the bed on which Capella was lying, move back to the ends of the bed to allow her to get off the bed. And a little mechanical voice starts reading out saying, restored to full health. You are at full health if you were not. Restored to full health. Human is stable. Blood toxicity shows high level of lamp intoxication. You are an addict. You have a problem.
Say no to that.
Shame on you.
Shame.
It's a very passive-aggressive medical system.
Printing out a little pamphlet about substance abuse and the like.
And you.
But yeah, basically, you are able now to get up, and aside from a headache
my head,
and a certain thickness in your veins, you are otherwise alive and okay.
Awesome.
I will follow up on giving Capella a good bonk around the back of the EVA helmet.
Probably deserve that. Yeah.
So the three of you, what are you thinking now?
I'm going to go down to wherever Lanette is screaming, just because I have to just shut her up. She'll attract attention. It's just...
She's
trapped with these stupid women.
Lanette, you appreciate, artisan, good workmanship. And
absolutely.
This robot in front of you is a thing of beauty, actually.
I'm kind of in my head, I don't know if it's accurate, imagining in the Dwemer ruins in Skyrim.
Yes.
You've got those ball-footed
Droids.
that roll around, and
They're
they've got like arms.
Gorgeously
Yeah.
engraved, made of brass metal.
Oh, please. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have not seen those. But yeah, let's run with that. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like human-sized, but they've got balls for legs.
Kind of
Well,
like
a
Gizmo
ball.
Duck in the
Yeah.
sense that they
Yeah,
roll
yeah.
around. Yeah.
But they're made of brass.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, come on. I found an automaton.
I found an automaton.
Lucky, take the ladder. Very excited because it's a thing of beauty.
Okay, well, we'll follow then to your
Yeah.
shouting then.
So, can I see anything? Say about you said it's plugged into sort of batteries. It's like clearly that's not how it's normally powered.
Are the batteries flat? As in, it's inactive.
That's
but plugged
basically. I was
into
gonna, it's like,
batteries.
can I? Clearly, like their internal power failed, so they bodged something together.
I
Like,
wonder
can
whether I
tell?
can stick the cable into what was powering the doors or something, and powering the life support, and like.
Careful of that though, because we need power where we are. We don't even know who or
That's
what
true.
this is.
I think if that was viable, they probably would have done it.
You look at the batteries and you can see that there's a few, there are a couple have drained, a couple do have some power in.
Okay.
In fact, you might be able to glean that like a kind of thirsty person sucking up a drink through a straw, maybe this robot, used
a
them,
really low charge.
used them as a kind of like a refill before entering a kind of power conservation state.
Oh, so he could be charged enough to activate.
Well, I think I'll go and tap him on the shoulder. Hello.
You tap him on the shoulder, nothing happens.
Bonk him on
Bear
the
in mind,
head.
he's there with like his chest open and kind of like a few cables kind
Okay.
of plugged in.
Well, I think maybe we unplug the cables, close the panel, and maybe that will trigger some sort of
Reactivation.
yeah.
Well, marvelous. I think if you are happy to start meddling with
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
robot,
I want to get stuck in.
could we take?
Classic Lanette.
Could we please get a deduction
Sure.
check? Or rather, no. Actually, sorry, no. I should open it to you. This is a mechanical check. Something you
Yes.
have an advantage on anyway.
This is true.
So you can make your case as to how you'd like to solve it. I mean,
Deduction and knowledge would play a part in this.
They would. My deduction is at 7, so I think I will go with deduction.
cool. So it's kind of like,
Working it
this
out.
isn't something you've seen before,
Yeah,
but you
but I
get
can
machines.
deduce.
You know
Yeah.
what's going on. Yeah.
You speak the language of machines.
Do you get
6.
to roll? Do you get to roll one extra dice?
That
or-
includes my extra. Yeah.
6.
6, please.
Oh well, that looks great. You kind of like you unplug those cables. You maybe have a look around. Maybe flick a couple of brass switches inside, and you can see that someone's done a bit of work on this robot. As was kind of suggested by Capella, maybe having batteries plugged into the chest is not the normal way of powering this robot. There's been a bit of jerry-rigging done here, but you flick a few things, connect a couple of doohickeys, close the thing, and a light wells up inside the robot's eyes.
Cool.
And with a kind of twitch and a lurch, it suddenly kind of comes to life. And
I'm just going to grip my spear, vaguely kind of pointed towards it.
I'm just going to throw it from my helmet.
so the robot starts moving its head around kind of slowly. It has kind of like lenses, like little lights for eyes, which kind of blink in a kind of humanoid way as it takes in the three of you and says in a modulated voice, which is still quite human, how long has it been?
We're actually not sure. What date do you think it is?
It goes, I guess that's a fair point. I guess time and space aren't quite as consistent as one would hope out in the Extraverse. He looks at the three of you and asks if you responded to his message.
We received the distress signal. Yeah,
You heard us.
Yeah.
eventually.
And he kind of looks around again. He says, I don't see the others. I don't see my crew.
We've met a few of them. They don't all seem to have made it, I'm afraid.
What of my patients?
Yeah. You
they're-
saw them, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm sorry, they didn't survive.
It's
Still in
been
stasis.
and the robot actually looks sad. You can tell that this is not an emotionless creature. It has emotions. It is
I'm gonna call him Tom. Automaton.
You might have a little
He's-
wait for that.
he is as alive as you or
Yeah.
any of you, whatever life means, and he is sad because he says clearly it's been long enough.
Yeah.
What does that indicate to you if it's been long enough? How long for those patients to die?
He said, I can't say. He said, my internal systems have, and he kind of gestures at his shoulders and his chest, and he says, it's been a difficult time, but they were in a terrible situation anyway. It was always the slimmest of chances that anyone would respond in time to save
So
them.
yeah, tell us what happened. What happened to your crew
Um,
and the ship?
He goes, I'm assuming that the three of you are here and not looking in the best of condition yourselves, that you've seen this actually, and he kind of starts and goes, where are we? Like, what planet are we on? What world? What's happening?
A very, very boring planet. You crashed.
I vaguely remember the crash.
Yeah. The ship is compromised a lot. You know,
never gonna
structurally,
fly,
yeah.
yeah.
This ship is never going anywhere again.
And is it too much to hope that my other crewmates didn't survive the crash? Is it still alive?
Is it? You
The
mean
infection.
the slime, the
We've
goo?
we've had
Yeah.
to deal with some of that. Yeah,
So the ship is still compromised.
definitely.
Yes.
I'm very grateful that you all came. You were all in terrible danger, as you may have. I aimed the ship for the most uninhabited planet we could find. I had hoped, maybe it was selfish, I had hoped that by putting out the distress beacon we might be able to save the few uninfected. Clearly that has now passed. He said, I am immune to this infection. It only affects biological systems. You three are potentially compromised already. He said, I have never seen, I am a medical professional. This was my role on the ship, was caring for the people here. I have failed terribly, and I have never seen anything like this. We've never encountered anything. All bird culture has never encountered anything like this before.
So how did it break out?
We he said, well, first and foremost, he said I guess he'd like to ask who he's dealing with. Who are you people? Where is your ship? Who is your crew? How big a crew are you?
We are the crew.
We are, yeah.
We've
Basically,
got our captain still on the ship.
a small ship that's just hovering outside yours, like literally just upstairs.
Yeah, a smaller crew then than
Yeah.
used to.
But if you can help us get off, then you're welcome to join us.
That was
He's a cool automaton. I can work on him, and he can be my cool robot friend.
I guess.
Still haven't found your cool cat friend.
Oh, I've got a cool robot friend now.
Well,
I do care about Jason.
so I'm going to assume that you have all at least said your names. Have you?
Yeah.
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 I suppose so.
Well, he said, in which case I would like to introduce myself and thank you, even though this may be a lost cause. And he gestures down at his chest plate, and you can see kind of embossed on the side are the letters AA1. He said, my designation is AA1. I was the first of my units. However, the crew came to know me as Aaron 1.
All right.
And up until now, I had to care for the crew. I cared for the biological life. That was my responsibility. Because you have responded to my call, I consider the three of you are now my responsibility as well. And we have to get out, but we cannot. My life, I am immune to this. It would not affect me. If this was my punishment, I would spend my entire existence here on this planet. But we must get the three of you to safety if possible, but we cannot allow the virus to come with us. this is what it wants. It wants to spread. And by bringing it into the extraverse, we've given it exactly what it wanted.
Can you find out if we are infected?
Yes, indeed. Well, Aaron, one has had a bit of time to study the virus. He tells you now that he has been, he fills you in on a bit of story and says that in the time, kind of leading up to the crash when things were at their worst, he took some time to kind of repair himself, to try and charge his batteries as best he could. The ship, as he said, he is responsible for having targeted the ship at this world, and he has simply took some time to draw what power he could out of the makeshift batteries, and then locked himself away and put himself in a hibernating status to...
Okay, sure.
But in that time, he'd had a bit of time to... Because in the weeks while the ship was infected, he was able to study the virus.
Yeah.
So, yes, he has devised what he hopes is a rudimentary testing system. He was even working on the beginnings, can't speak today, of a vaccine, which may have inoculated people. But this virus is as virulent... I can't speak, I'm losing my ability to speak. I need to take a break shortly and get some water. But this is as aggressive a virus he's ever encountered. And it appears to move with intelligence. And it has resisted most of his attempts at forming a vaccine. But he has something which he hopes might work.
Wow.
What does he need to complete that?
Well, I mean, he has all his research. He arguably has more research than anyone who's encountered this before. I mean, he could certainly start. I mean, maybe he'll take like a little blood test from each of you. He might be able to check your infection status.
Okay.
While he works on that, do you have any information you want from him? Do you anything you'd like to kind of pump in for information?
Is the air clean in here?
It is indeed.
Okay.
This is as near as he can say. This is the one area he was able to seal off. And he said, thankfully, the virus, while it's hard to detect in its early stages, the mucus is a bit of a giveaway. I mean, he spent time researching this thing.
Yeah.
So
I would like to see his research notes.
Okay, wonderful.
I'll spend some time looking at those.
Yeah, he's happy to see a kind of fellow scientist. So he passes over his information, and the whole kind of sorry affair begins to unfold. And yes, they picked up this virus from the forested world they landed on.
Is that world named in the notes?
No,
Is there coordinates or anything?
You can certainly take down the coordinates if you wish for future reference, but it's not a world which Bergs have encountered before.
That we know.
And there was evidence of civilization on that planet, but they landed in a forested section, dense, incredible forests, which they felt were, as good as safe a place as any to shore up. They had an uneventful time on the planet, and it was only in the days and weeks following that the infection made itself known, and clearly they had picked up something from the ecosystem of this planet.
Can I ask what the first stages or signs are of infection?
It manifests initially as any virus, increased temperature, fever,
flu-like stuff.
Feel weak, nauseous, but of course it's highly infectious, and this is when people were at their most infectious stage, and people struggled on, and we observed, as best we could, health protocols that Bergs deal with. However, it very swiftly advanced to coma, like a complete kind of comatose state where we had up to 8 members in the sick bay at any one point. And that's when we were in a crisis mode, and we were thinking we needed to get back and rejoin with other vessels, get back to the convoy, get help. However, that's when things got super weird, where the people who were in comas woke up and were not in their right minds and began attacking the fellow crew members. And for a spate of a couple of weeks, a battle raged within the ship itself, with the survivors cordoning themselves off in certain areas and trying to fight back against the infected, who at that time acted in a semi-organised state. They weren't raving lunatics. They didn't speak. They weren't communicable with, but they acted with purpose, and they attacked the ship's kind of infrastructure. They cut us out of engineering. They cut us out of the engine room. They even rigged the heart to kind of change the conditions to something which would be more
we noticed that.
yeah, which would be more agreeable for the virus.
So am I right in thinking that the last 3 people that stood a chance are lying in those beds? Because otherwise, why would you have closed and sealed the door if there was still crewmates out there?
This was one of our only safe haven towards the end, as we lost more and more of our people to the infection. And yeah, this is it. This is it, basically. And that's not even factoring in Hestus.
Hestus.
Right. What?
Hestus was our muscle.
Right, yeah, we saw him on the crew manifest.
Yeah. Hestus, as well, if you've read the crew manifest, you would know. Hestus was from quite a physically impressive, vaguely humanic race. He's human.
Only vaguely.
Human in the sense that he has a head and hands and feet, but looks like a gigantically oversized human. He's maybe 12 feet tall, but wide. He's muscular. He's muscles upon muscles, basically. He said he had the basic resilience of an ox. He's like a tank.
At this
Let's
point, I take
not
my
meet him.
helmet off and take a massive toke of my remaining life. My skin sparkles with golden light and I stand up and feel a hell of a lot better.
You feel amazing all of a sudden. And your wishes are replenished. So yeah, you're up to 3 wishes again, but of course you do not have a safety net now.
No.
He said, due to the natural resilience of Hestus's species, they're not particularly intelligent, but they're strong. He was able to hold off against the virus for longer than most. However, I have evidence, and he gestures towards his kind of broken shoulder, that he eventually succumbed. You've seen what's happened to the bodies of an average humanic infected person. The mucus, I guess I should explain a little bit about how the virus works. The virus turns organic life into biological factories for producing the mucus. The virus is like a hologram, in so much as the smallest piece contains all the information.
Okay.
This is an intelligent virus. It is alive in a way that we cannot truly comprehend. It infects. The infected turn on their fellows. They infect more fellows. They engineer conditions which are more favourable to the virus. As they get sicker and the virus progresses, their bodies begin turning. All healthy cells in their body become factories for producing more viral particles, which they breathe out. This particulate matter begins to collect on surfaces. It grows. It makes structures. The mucus which has covered this entire building, the entire ship rather, is literally the biological mass of the crew, which has been turned into building blocks for this virus.
I don't like this place. I want to go away now. There's no one left to save. Let's just leave.
He goes, have you seen the entities?
The big floaty blobs.
Things.
I said, this is mostly conjecture on my part. I have nothing to base this on other than my hypothesis, but I think that is the end state of the virus's development. It turns humans into factories to make these creatures. I don't know what structures it's building out of mucus, but it is a rudimentary brain. You've witnessed their powers. They appear to be able to levitate. They can move matter with their mind. They can inflict terrible psychic pain. This is a virus with intent, and it has practically exhausted all the biological matter on this planet.
Maybe Hestus is gone. Yeah, maybe.
Well, hopefully.
He's very resilient though.
We,
I think
we clean ourselves up, we leave as quickly as possible, and we nuke it from space, as I believe I said like 7 episodes ago.
He said, well, I mean, if you've made it this far down, I can only assume that, the remaining members of my crew who were infected are, if not dead already, but didn't put up much kind of
We
resistance.
did have to fight some of them.
But Heskus, his resilience allowed him to hold off for longer. His resilience will also keep him alive for longer. He has more mass to expend.
Can you fight?
I have hands I can use.
Do you have any weapons?
Yeah, are there weapons on board the ship? I was going to ask that.
Oh, weapons on board the ship. So we kept what we could. I mean, certain areas of the ship became impassable, but if you look over here, and he gestures to like a crate, we have a small complement of pistols, laser pistols that we
That'll be useful.
maintained. He said, but other than that, I am not a combat unit, but I have hands. I can use them. I guess at that point there's a little ping, and the scanners have completed their check of all your blood. And he said, I'm very sorry, but you have all been exposed to some extent. Like, you are fine now, but the three of you are potentially in the early stages of infection to begin with.
Right, we need to get that
Yeah.
antidote figured out.
However,
I'll start working on that.
yeah. However, and he looks towards Capella. He says, I'd like to take another sample from you
What, now?
now.
Okay.
And you are kind of shimmering
Yeah.
slightly.
See where this is going.
Yeah. So he basically takes a blood sample from you.
It
and
glows now.
there are little kind of like fireworks going off in the blood.
Sparks.
And basically, he said, yeah, this confirms everything I imagined. He said the wish energy in your body, in your blood, is actively fighting. He's saying, and this is the crazy thing. I mean, the paradox of being a scientist in the Extraverse. So we deal with things which break reality on a daily basis. I mean, here we have a virus which is intelligent, where every particle of it has intelligence. And yet here we have you, and you have wish energy, which is literal reality shaping energy flushing through your veins, and it is burning the virus out.
Sweet.
Well,
So you at least are great. You're doing fine.
with a blood sample, could we maybe look to make that into a...
What, synthesise
antidote.
wish energy?
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Well, you have a lamp. Can you not? Can we
I
not?
just inhaled all of it.
All of it?
It's all or nothing. I've got 3 wishes.
No.
I was going to say that there was a time that I got infected with something a while back, and I used a wish once to flood my entire circulatory system, which hurt a lot when I did it. But I was going to ask whether that would be something possible for this. But what you've just told me is very exciting to hear that it's already doing it. Which is
Yeah, I
amazing.
think the natural energy surging through your body appears to be overloading the viral cells. They have no
It's
capacity.
overloading me as well.
They have no capacity for processing it.
Interesting.
And he goes on to say, I have reason to suspect that your wish energy might be very effective against these viral creatures.
It has been. It's also really effective against the floor as well.
So yeah, I would say that you, at least, as long as you have wish energy in your body, appear to have a natural... It's almost like you mentioned earlier the effect of like UV light.
Yeah.
There's a certain, the kind of weird radiation of the wishes is cleansing you. Your 2 crew members are at risk, but
If there is a way that I can expend wish energy as a fluid, but I've never done that before, I don't know.
well, I think the Eva suits at least will keep you safe. But of course, it was a while before you put those on. I've tried synthesizing a vaccine to no success so far. I mean, it's conceivable that you might be able to flush using wish energy. You might be able to flush out the virus from your crew members' systems.
It was a lot easier for me because I could sort of feel it in myself. I don't know how I could feel my way through someone else's body with
Would you
it.
do a blood transfusion?
A hole.
Just like all of it.
Drain you
It's
dry.
like, how much of that energy is required to flush things out? I mean, I'm not even close to the same species as you.
No, our blood isn't compatible at all.
Yeah.
Is it? That's a good point. And if our blood isn't compatible, then that's danger in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, maybe, I mean, science failed me in my attempts to cure the vaccine of a virus. Maybe we need to think in more kind of esoteric terms. I mean, wish energy confounds pretty much everything I know.
Could you wish for a cure?
It doesn't really work like that.
Well, how about clearly we're all in early stages here, and this place is clean and relatively safe right this moment. So I will spend some time. I'll look at all the vaccine notes. I will read through the research notes. Perhaps there's some way of combining wish energy with the vaccine.
Yeah.
Like
the work
rather
you've
than
done
trying
so
to put
far.
it through a person, can we like filter out the biology and put the energy into the vaccine, supercharge it?
Yeah. No, I think this could be a great opportunity to pool resources.
Yeah.
Cool. And while you're doing that, I guess I'll go through the weapons and divvy them out to everybody.
Yeah, let us know if they're working, if they need any
I'll check that they're all in working
engineering.
order.
Just fire a bunch of holes in the wall.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, okay, that's a good point to just kind of take stock of the situation. Lanette, looking at the little crate, it's not a big one. Clearly, resources were much diminished, but yeah, there are like a handful of laser pistols in there. I mean, you're limited by what you physically can carry, and whether or not someone like Capella would even want to carry
At
a
this point,
pistol.
I feel like I've got to save my energy now.
Okay.
So I will take weaponry probably.
Okay, so these are just going to be the same standard laser pistols as before. So, I mean, Ali, you have 2 hands. Could you want a second?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, just Lara Croft this.
Okay, so I'm going to draw you up.
Thank you.
Laser pistol. What about yourself?
If there are enough for 2, I'll take 2 as well.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I only want 1 because I have a spear.
Okay.
Very true.
I want the spear in my other hand.
And I think Aaron 1 should probably have 1 or 2.
Okay.
If there's any left.
Marvellous. So,
Shall we use this opportunity to take a break?
I
think
think
that's a
that would
good
be
idea.
wise. Okay, so that's where we leave off. Capella and R'tuar.
I'm working with R'tuar.
Yeah, you are considering the options of fusing super pseudoscience and actual science.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've divvied out some
I'm
guns.
going to poke around Aaron while he's doing things and try and work out how he works.
I'm sure he'll love that.
Yeah.
He says it is appreciated.
Oh.